A grain silo is a cylinder capped with a hemispherical top. Compute the volume of the silo, rounding to the nearest whole number. Now this silo consists of two components. It has the cap and it has the cylinder. So the volume of the silo should equal the volume of the cap plus the volume of the cylinder. So let's go and compute each of these, then we'll add our answers together to get our total volume. The cap is a hemisphere, that is half of a sphere. So its volume should be 1/2 the volume of a sphere. Let's write this in. The cap should be 1/2 the volume of a sphere, which is given by the formula 4/3 times pi times r cubed, where r is the radius. Now, from the picture, we know the diameter of the bottom circle is 20 meters. Since this is a cylinder, the diameter of the top circle should also be 20 meters. And the radius is half the diameter. So half of 20 is 10 meters. So now that we know what the radius is, let's plug it into the formula. This is 1/2 times 4/3 times pi is 3.14, and the radius is 10. So according to the order of operations, we have to evaluate exponents before we do the multiplications. So 10 to the third is 10 times 10 times 10. 10 times 10 is 100, times 10 again is 1,000. 3.14 we'll keep. And now for these fractions, I see the 2 and the 4 can reduce. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 4 2 times. So we can multiply the numerators. 1 times 2 is 2, and multiply the denominators. 1 times 3 is 3. Next, we have to take care of the multiplications. Now between the two of these, it's very easy to multiply a decimal times a power of 10. That is a 1 with some zeros at the end. 1,000 has 3 zeros. That means to multiply these, we take the decimal place in 3.14 and we move it 3 places to the right. 1, 2, 3 places to the right. So this will now write as 2/3 times 314. We need one more decimal place in here, so it's a 0. Now it doesn't look like 3 and 3,140 have anything in common. So instead we'll just multiply these together. When one of your factors is a fraction, both factors need to be a fraction. So we'll write this over 1. Now multiply the numerators. 2 times 3,140 is 6,280. 3 times 1 is 3. Now we need to use long division to divide this out. 3 into 6,280. So 3 goes into 6 2 times. 2 times 3 is 6. And we subtract. 6 minus 6 is 0, and we carry down the 2. 3 does not go into 2, so we'll carry down the 8. 3 goes into 28 9 times. 9 times 3 is 27, and we subtract. 28 minus 27 is 1, and we carry down the 0. Now 3 goes into 10 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. We subtract, and we get a remainder of 1. Now we're rounding this to the nearest whole number, so this remainder of 1 we don't need to include. This says the volume of the cap is 2,093 cubic meters. Now let's move on to the cylinder. The volume of a cylinder is the area of the base times the height. In this case, the base of this cylinder is a circle. So let's figure out the area of the base first. The area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. Now we saw while we were figuring out the cap that the radius of the circle was 10 meters. So we'll plug that in. So pi is 3.14. The radius is 10. So we'll go through and do the exponents first. 10 squared is 10 times 10, which is 100. Now 100 has two zeros, so that'll move the decimal point over 2 places to 314. Now that we know what the base is, we need to multiply it times the height. The formula was base times height. So the cylinder will be 314 times the height in this is 32. Let's go and do this multiplication. 314 times 32. We multiply the ones digit first. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. That takes care of the 2. Now we move on to the tens digit. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 1 is 4. Plus 1 is 4. Finally, 3 times 3 is 9. Now we add these together. 8 plus 0 is 8. 2 plus 2 is 4. 6 plus 4 is 10. And 1 plus 9 is 10. So this says that the volume of the cylinder is 10,048 cubic meters. Now our last step will be to add these two numbers together to get the total volume. So now we'll go back to the original. So the volume is that of the cap, which is 2,093, plus that of the cylinder, which was 10,048. Now finally, we need to add these two numbers together. So 2,093 plus 10,048. 3 plus 8 is 11. 1 plus 9 is 10. Plus 4 is 14. 1 plus 0 is 0. Plus 0 is 1. 2 plus 0 is 2. And we carry down the 1. So this tells us that the total volume is 12,141 cubic meters.